in a culture where it will be very unpopular if the WNBA does what you're saying, how probable is that?
It'll be unpopular if the WNBA folds? Unpopular to who? To the large majority of the... I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about the WNBA owners versus the WNBA Players Association and the players. Man, I heard something.
A startling warning has now entered the conversation, and it didn't come from just anyone. A former MLB president and well-connected business executive publicly dropped a statement that sent shockwaves through the sports world. According to him, WNBA ownership is prepared to take the most extreme step imaginable, shutting the league down entirely if players refuse to retreat from their current demands. This isn't being framed as a bargaining tactic or a pressure play at the negotiation table. The message was far more severe. The implication was clear: there will be no drawn-out compromise, no middle ground, and no extended back and forth. In this telling, the choice is blunt and unforgiving: accept the terms on offer or risk watching the league cease to exist. The weight of that statement landed hard. The pause that followed spoke volumes, underscoring just how serious the moment has become for a league that is only now gaining sustained national attention and cultural relevance. What once felt like momentum now feels fragile, hanging on decisions made behind closed doors. For players across the league, including its brightest emerging stars, the consequences couldn't be bigger. Careers, visibility, and years of progress are all potentially on the line.
We're going to talk about the WNBA owners versus the WNBA Players Association and the players. Man, I heard something this morning and I was like, whoa. Okay, that's news. That's news. We got two things. We've got David Sampson, who is a very well-known, well-respected businessman. He was the Miami Marlins president for like 16 years in Major League Baseball. He has a business sports show with the former CEO of ESPN, John Skipper. And he was on...
This wasn't an offhand remark from some unnamed source. It came from David Sampson, a figure whose reputation in professional sports commands attention. Sampson spent an impressive 16 years as president of the Miami Marlins, overseeing complex negotiations, player contracts, and multi-million-dollar business deals at the highest level of Major League Baseball. His experience navigating the intersection of athletics and finance gives his perspective serious credibility. Today, Sampson co-hosts a prominent sports business program alongside former ESPN CEO John Skipper, further amplifying his voice in conversations about the economics of professional sports. When he speaks, industry insiders and fans alike take note, particularly on issues involving league operations, ownership strategy, and financial decision-making. His comments about the WNBA weren't casual speculation. They reflect a hard-nosed, insider understanding of what owners are willing to do when faced with player demands. This isn't just someone guessing about possible outcomes, it's a pointed assessment from someone who knows exactly how high-stakes negotiations unfold behind the scenes. Sampson's declaration underscores the magnitude of the situation and the very real possibility that the league could face an existential threat if disagreements aren't resolved.
That the WNBA owners have a new offer on the table. And I got to tell you, if the players don't take this offer, they're idiots. They're idiots. There's no excuses. Because by the time you get to the final year of this offer, the final year of this deal that's on the table, the max players are making what you're making in Project B, $2 million. And the minimum salary, we're talking, I mean, this is more than fair. But if it is truly the revenue sharing angle, the
spark igniting this high-stakes standoff comes directly from the WNBA Players Association. In a decisive move, the union recently voted to authorize a potential strike, a step that gives players the legal and strategic power to halt league operations at any moment. This isn't a symbolic gesture, it dramatically increases leverage during the ongoing negotiations over the collective bargaining agreement. By taking this step, the players are sending a clear, unmistakable message: they are serious about securing higher compensation and, crucially, a larger share of the league's revenue. This isn't a subtle tactic or a negotiating ploy, it's a bold confrontation with a financial structure that has been in place for decades, challenging the very rules that have governed the league's economics. The authorization of a strike sets the stage for an unprecedented showdown, one that could either redefine the landscape of women's professional sports or, as some insiders warn, threaten to upend it entirely. Every moment now counts, and the pressure is mounting for a resolution before the stakes escalate beyond repair. The clock is ticking, and the next move could determine the future of the league.
Sampson said players are not going to get it, and the owners will end the WNBA.
Really trying to get a landing spot for tons of issues, not just housing or minimums or tagging a percentage of revenue.
If the players are not going to move on a revenue split versus derive revenue share off of a fixed number, what is your opinion on what happens?
Maybe the end of the WNBA. The players will move. There's not going to be a fixed number. It doesn't make sense to me for the WNBA to demand that, for the players to demand that right now. I understand. The biggest thing they did wrong.
In response, WNBA owners have put forward what they describe as a generous offer, one that David Sampson didn't mince words about, calling it a deal that players would be fools to turn down. The proposal includes substantial financial improvements, designed to bring salaries closer to the upper echelons of professional women's basketball worldwide. By the final year of the agreement, the top earners could see salaries reach as high as $2 million, a staggering leap that aligns with the compensation offered by elite international leagues, which have long drawn WNBA talent overseas during the off-season. For context, this represents a massive jump from the current maximum of roughly $249,000. Beyond the top-tier figures, the proposal also envisions an average salary boost to around $770,000, with a minimum salary guarantee of $250,000. These numbers mark an unprecedented financial commitment from ownership, signaling a willingness to invest heavily in players' livelihoods. Yet, as with all negotiations, the offer comes with strings attached, meaning the deal is generous, but not unconditional. The stage is set for players to weigh unprecedented financial security against their broader demands and principles.
Exactly what your boy said. Me. They're trying to go for too much at one time, especially involving a league that's never turned a profit. Get your salary increase and then revisit in 3 years, after the owners have actually put a profit in their pockets for the first time because of your media rights deal. Let the owners actually make some money, because he makes it real clear. Like, if you listen to this whole thing, he makes it very clear the owners want to be paid back for all the money they've lost over the years. And I don't blame them.
At the heart of the standoff lies the contentious issue of revenue sharing. The players are pushing for an NBA-style model, where a substantial percentage of the league's total income, regardless of whether the league turns a profit, would go directly to them. This demand represents the hill they are prepared to die on, the principle they're unwilling to compromise. David Sampson, drawing on decades of experience in high-stakes sports negotiations, made one thing abundantly clear: that level of fixed percentage revenue sharing is non-starter for ownership. He bluntly stated that if the players insist on this as a non-negotiable term, the owners are prepared to shut the league down entirely. This is not exaggeration or theater, it's a hard business reality that reflects the financial boundaries owners have set. In essence, the fight over how the revenue pie is divided could have catastrophic consequences. Pushed too far, and the very league generating these opportunities, and providing the platform for its stars, could disappear. It's a high-stakes gamble, where the potential reward is massive, but the risk is existential, threatening everyone involved, from the players to the fans who have supported the league's growth.
Let's be clear, Dan. People are not talking about this enough. We talked about it on the sporting class, and obviously you know John Skipper's involvement in Unrivaled, but you also have talked about what Project B is. You understand there are players who are getting paid multi-millions of dollars to go play in another league in another country. This is the moment. If you had any ability to invest and you wanted to start a league to compete with the WNBA, this is the time. Every player is a free agent. All of them want money and need money. If you have a well-capitalized and well-funded business, the way
So why are the owners digging in so hard on this issue? The answer lies in the league's financial history. The WNBA has long operated as a money-losing venture for its owners, who have poured millions into building and sustaining it without ever seeing a meaningful return. Sampson points out that part of the owner's stance stems from a desire to recoup those past losses, to be compensated for the decades of financial risk they've shouldered. The landscape has shifted slightly with the recent media rights deal, which for the first time has allowed owners to put real profits in their pockets. But this profitability is still fragile, and the thought of immediately ceding a fixed percentage of all revenue to players threatens to wipe out the early gains they've finally achieved. Their insistence isn't simply about current greed, it's tied to a long history of investment, sacrifice, and the hope of finally seeing a return. From their perspective, revenue sharing at the level the players demand could jeopardize the very progress they've worked decades to achieve. It's a battle between protecting hard-won financial stability and meeting the players' call for equity, making the standoff all the more intense.
Large majority of I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Okay, we're just going to stop it right there. He's got a great point. Unpopular to what? Even with all the new fans, 2.5 million people? If they're gone tomorrow, 2.5 million people. And that's on the very high end, right? He's got a point. This is crazy. They better be careful. This is the latest offer. All right, from the league. The league's most recent offer would guarantee
The players' current negotiating approach has come under intense scrutiny, with experts like Sampson suggesting it may be overreaching. By framing this moment as now or never, the union has effectively placed immense pressure on themselves to secure sweeping changes in a single negotiation. That all-or-nothing mindset carries significant risk, particularly for a league that has only recently begun to show a profit. In more established leagues, the preferred strategy is usually incremental progress, gradually securing benefits over multiple agreements, building trust and stability along the way. The WNBA's approach, however, signals an expectation that every demand must be met immediately, or the effort is a failure. Critics argue this tactic could backfire, leaving players in a corner with little room to compromise. By pushing for everything at once, they risk not only their own gains but the very stability of the league itself. It's a high-stakes gamble, one that underscores how delicate the balance is between ambition and pragmatism in professional sports negotiation.
That's not going to happen, and if that's what the league the players want, the WNBA is over. It's finished. They will not get that. They will not get it because it's not financially viable. You just fold the league because the league's not going to make it then, and everybody moves on to whatever other league they want to. And then there's the revenue sharing that's based on if you turn a profit, then you get blah, 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 and it's based on different criteria. The revenue sharing, the league is actually willing to give. The owners are actually willing to give.
WNBA negotiations have now reached a critical tipping point, and the full complexity of the standoff is coming into focus. Owners, while publicly portrayed as rigid, are actually willing to compromise, but on their own terms. One powerful unspoken leverage point is the looming threat of a rival league, often referred to as Project B. Well-funded and prepared, such a league could swoop in if the WNBA falters, immediately poaching top talent and offering players lucrative alternatives. Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, is reportedly aware of this scenario, understanding that a collapse could pave the way for competitors better positioned financially. This raises a hard question about the perceived backlash if the WNBA were to fold. David Sampson's blunt take, unpopular to who? Underscores the harsh reality, even with growing fan engagement topping around 2.5 million, it's still a niche audience relative to the broader professional sports landscape. While fans would be disappointed, the true financial incentive for owners may outweigh public perception. The heart of the impasse is revenue sharing. Players want an NBA-style model, a fixed percentage of all league income, regardless of profit or loss. Owners, however, are proposing a system tied to actual profitability. That distinction is critical. One guarantees money regardless of the league's financial health, the other rewards performance and sustainability. Adam Silver has reportedly reinforced that the NBA will not allow a revenue-sharing model that risks the WNBA's long-term viability, a signal that this line is non-negotiable.